be last, but a dramatic twist here as out goes Lando Norris.
Mate, I'm sorry.
We talked about the need for a strong foundation banker lap at the start of the broadcast, and if you leave yourself vulnerable to drama at the end caused by another car, this can happen. This was Norris over the curb, skateboarding down the curb, and he has it all to do in the Grand Prix tomorrow.
I don't think it was anything to do with the yellow flag that was caused for someone else then. That's not causing one. And there wasn't one there, but he just ran wide, shuffled himself along the curb, got out of the throttle, and it's such a long run to the line. Norris was not improving. And he was like Verstappen, like Piastri, on the same set of tyres. They had new tyres in the bag if they wanted them, but tried to go through on the scrub set. Without that mistake, he would have done it. Piastri went up to third, Verstappen went up to sixth. They had enough in those tyres, but that is a big mistake from Lando Norris.
Right, you're through. You are through. Awesome job, mate. Awesome job.
Thank God. Thank God.
Well done, mate.
Oliver Behrman gets through to Q2, and that is relief for him after finding the barrier earlier on. Out in the first part of qualifying, Daniel Ricciardo, a former winner here, the driver second in the Formula One World Championship point standings coming into the race. Another former winner in Valtteri Bottas, Joe Guan Yu, who knew he was going to be able to start last anyway, and Esteban Ocon, who has lost so much practice time and was always going to be heading out in the first part of qualifying unless something dramatic happened. But Norris has gone, that's the major shock. And that is a big twist in the context of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix weekend. But Norris has gone. But did anyone improve at the end there under double-waved yellows? It's against the rules to do so.
A big twist in terms of the context of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix weekend. What about the championship?
Yeah.
Some people might say, what championship? Verstappen has such a big advantage, but Norris has been chipping away. He's surely the only driver within a long stone's throw of that championship, but this could be a catastrophic weekend. This could be a major blow. You can overtake around this circuit. There's a long Grand Prix tomorrow, but he starts 17th.
Could have been completely different. If Max Verstappen had caught Esteban Ocon with the puncher at the wrong part of the track, that was his push lap gone. This is him, turn 15, brushing the Tech Pro and very nearly hitting the concrete after it.
That's a solid hit from Max. That's a solid hit of the Tech Pro. There's a bit of give in it, and you can see that there. That moves a couple of inches just to give the rear right a bit of breathing space to not have a bit of a snap at a crucial time, unlike that one for Esteban Ocon hitting the concrete wall and not getting away with it. So there's mighty fine differences between the Alpine and the Red Bull. The Alpine out in last, the Red Bull through, and more critically, Lando Norris out in 17th.
Carlos Sainz was wary at the end there. Sainz and Ocon going to be investigated for failing to follow the race director's instructions for the maximum delta time. We get to see that punished under green flag conditions since the rule was brought in to make sure cars don't go slowly on the racing line or just off the racing line at the end of the session. Well, for the first time this year, McLaren won't put both cars in Q3. But not only that, Lando Norris has not made Q2. It felt like when everyone has to go again, as soon as we saw Yuki Tsunoda go over the line and that massive improvement for where he was originally, it felt like there was a risk out there. But McLaren have literally been bulletproof at getting both cars to the top 10 shootout until today. And a big twist. We started the weekend talking about drivers being biased towards the World Championship with team orders, and Lando Norris will have to fight through from 17th. This Grand Prix has been won before from as low down as 10th on the grid, but a lot of damage to undo with that result.
And that is also huge for Oscar Piastri. All the speak about team orders, all of the debate after Monza and the two of them fighting for first position and locking out the front row, McLaren came here saying in 50-50 situations we are now going to bias it towards Norris, which would have helped him last time out in Monza. The best thing for Piastri is that Norris is not in victory contention, in which case he can go and fight. He doesn't have to worry about team orders. He needs to now get himself right up the sharp end of the grid again, and he shouldn't see his teammate in the race.
It's an opportunity for Oscar Piastri, the sole remaining McLaren. It is a tough moment for Lando Norris, as McLaren were the first and only team to get both cars to Q3 at every race so far this year. And it is Lando Norris's first Q1 elimination since Las Vegas last year, penultimate Grand Prix of 2023. And he finds himself out in the Azerbaijan Grand Prix of 2024. We're on board with George Russell. We have a green light at the end of the pit lane, Q2 underway.
At this rate, we shouldn't assume that any of the normal contenders are guaranteed a place on the front two rows. We saw how difficult it was. Max in the drop zone, having to put in that lap, having to wring the neck of the Red Bull, brushing the barriers as well, getting himself up the order. The track evolution will continue to be there. Some of the midfielders are flying. The Williams guys are rapid. They're almost front-running contenders at the moment. Nico Hülkenberg was really quick in that session as well. The track evolution meant you've got Pierre Gasly flying. You've got drivers hooking it up that you least expected. And it means that none of the usual front-runners can rest easy.
Are we also seeing a different in-risk approach and a bigger driver influence than normal? Because of the low grip and the uncertain grip that we've had across this weekend. He said earlier in the broadcast, we were 1 second back from where we were in FP3. We saw Colapinto basically maximum attack. For the drivers that are normally at the front, you would find yourself not at maybe 98% in Q1 and in Q2 before maximum attack in Q3.
Yeah, you'd have a bit more time to dial in.
That was tight.
Yeah, Piastri and Colapinto.
That'll be fine. The difficulty is for those front runners, they don't have the luxury. We know this year is closer than ever in Q1. And when you have track evolution like that, your banker lap is not easy because the grip level just comes up. So even if you're the best driver, your early lap might not be as good as a Sauber or an Alpine much later on. It was a risk for Verstappen and the McLarens to not go on a new set of tyres, not just play it safe. The reason they did that is so that they could have 2 sets of new tyres for a full-on Q3 attack. But, of course, for Norris now, they're going to be ruining that. They're not even in Q2, let alone Q3. And it's the balance of how much do you risk in Q1. All of them did it. Piastri, Norris and Verstappen. So McLaren weren't alone with it. Red Bull did the same. It meant that they were at a disadvantage compared to everyone else out there on the track at the same time on new boots with theoretically more grip. But in the end, it was a mistake for Norris. He had the pace in the car to get through, but he just made a mistake on a critical corner.
Turn 16 has been tough for him all weekend long. That was the third moment we've seen on camera for him over the curb. As we go back to the driver who has taken 3 pole positions around this circuit in the past, working the wheel as he applies the power and opens up the speed of his Scarlet Ferrari through the left-handers that will take him to the corner where he crashed at in FP1 by making that line as wide as possible, a line that is now rubbered in a much better condition than when we started things. Charles Leclerc looking to get his first lap time on the board, where the order has been shaken up at the moment. The usual rules do not apply. We have multiple contenders for this top 10 shootout, including some new names in Ollie Behrman and Franco Colapinto in only their second Formula 1 qualifying session. Charles Leclerc won his 7th Grand Prix last time out in Monza and comes across the line to put a benchmark on the board of a 1:43.422. Sainz and Russell about to follow over the line.
Still on his first set of tyres, Charles Leclerc, and that is why Carlos Sainz has immediately usurped him, although Sainz also still on the first set of tyres. So Ferrari saving their tyres as much as they can at this stage. They're going to have a clean run of it into Q3. Russell then on a fresher set, so goes to the top of the times.
So Russell P1, Sainz ahead of Leclerc, which hasn't been that way round. Alex Albon in the Williams splitting the Ferraris. Colapinto finds himself in 6th. Piastri is ahead of everyone. And we have 10 minutes to go. And here is Lewis Hamilton across the line, the winner of the Grand Prix here in 2018, to go ahead of Charles Leclerc, but behind the Williams of Alex Albon. And now Perez has the fastest first sector of anyone so far, as we join Max Verstappen, World Championship leader, and a little bit of the weight off his shoulders, surely, with Lando Norris going out in Q1, because He's been fighting a rear guard. He has been trying to score the best results possible with a car that has gone from winning nearly every single Grand Prix, only once were Red Bull beaten last year, to just trying to contend with McLaren, with Mercedes and with Ferrari. Tsunoda is in 11th position. How about Max Verstappen? He goes over the line, fastest of anyone so far by half a second.
Best lap of the weekend for Max Verstappen. Sergio Perez crosses the line and slots in 2/10 behind. The Red Bulls there, both of them on new tyres, as was Piastri. So they breathed a sigh of relief at the end of Q1, the Red Bulls. Piastri does as well. Let's see what happened to him down at turn 14, 15. Oh, did he clip it?
We're looking at the Tech Pro with the green hoarding. Brushed it, flirted with it and got away. Great commitment through that corner. You need to have it. There's tenths on the table. You were highlighting for us earlier that Charles Leclerc has been tentative through that corner and mighty through the others because of what happened to him in FP1 earlier on. Here is Lance Stroll.
Let's get out there early. I think the track is starting to plateau.
So Russell thinks his aggressive track evolution might be about to stop, and he wants to get out there early to be as safe as possible. So there's no late mistakes, so there's no intervention with cars potentially hitting the barriers. This is a driver who was on the podium here for the first time in Formula One. Thrilling drag race to the line with Valtteri Bottas. And he got a podium at 18 years of age, Lance Stroll. He's just looking to book his place in the top 10 shootout. That would be handy for him. He was last there in Zandvoort, missed out in the top 10 shootout. Monza, our last Grand Prix. Driver who had a puncher a couple of years ago at that part of the circuit, very high speed part of the circuit. As he moves into DRS, and Lance Stroll comes over the line and is the 15th fastest of our 15 remaining drivers.
8 minutes still left on the clock, and a lot of the front runners now more established in their position in the top 10. Charles Leclerc leaves the pits now on a new set of tyres, as does Carlos Sainz. So they're in the position now of saving the set on the first run of Q2, but it does leave them slightly vulnerable. So unlike what we saw in Q1, Ferrari going with plenty of time for a bit of bailout, for the chance of a yellow flag or a red flag, and they know they've got the pace with both cars to make it through. And as George Russell said, the track evolution does plateau a bit. Q1 is always, the track evolution is rampant. It's 20 cars on track, cleaning it up from a couple of hours that you've not had Formula One cars out there. You get a little bit of dust, especially on street circuits that comes on. They're not that naturally rubbered in, especially this one that started from such a low baseline. Q1, you clean it up, and it will get incremental through Q2 and 3, but it won't be quite the same level.
Focusing on Carlos Sainz's recent qualifying form as he tries to get the track position he's looking for onto a flying lap. Driver who finds himself in 6th place. 7 minutes to go. Sainz trying to book his place back into the top 10 shootout. It is Verstappen and Perez and Piastri, but we're going to get laps now with the drivers bolting on a new set of tyres and trying to attack. We start with Carlos Sainz, who has never been on the podium around this venue in the past, who's looking to try and take advantage of one of the contenders that he would have expected to be fighting in Lando Norris falling out of qualifying in Q1. We're on the nose cam as we come out of turn number 3, heading into one of the DRS zones around the circuit.
A real feeling of speed from pretty much surface level with Carlos Sainz, building the speed over 200 miles per hour, braking at about 100 meters down towards turn 3. The ball comes at you quick. You've got runoff there that they've been using in practice, but you don't want to be going down there right now, particularly on a new set of soft tyres as Carlos negotiates 4. Into the chicane, 5 and 6. 5 brings you straight into the tighter right-hander of 6, and now a short burst before a tighter still corner of turn 7.
So Carlos Sainz now makes his way into the shade of the circuit, and then the narrow turn to the left, where the curb used to be way more extreme on the inside there, but they brought it back in recent times. Charles Leclerc is up on Max Verstappen's benchmark through the first part of the lap. Less than 6 minutes to go. These are the high-speed left turns before a crucial corner on the racetrack, trying to make that turn in as wide as possible at turn 15. How much margin? Quite a bit by the luxuries that we've seen. Charles Leclerc wasn't leaving much, beginning to hustle the car in the way that he does as we move through the qualifying hour. First a set of time, Carlos Sainz coming through the sweepers at the end of the lap. They've removed a couple of the bumps in there, looking at trying to make sure that the car isn't moving around for Formula One, because you are flat through those sections of 18 and 19, 16, the last corner on the racetrack where you apply the brake. And Sainz is up to third. Charles Leclerc, fastest middle sector of anyone so far. We join him on board.
Yeah, Leclerc is bringing it right now, but he was a bit wide in the final corner, understeered and missed his apex, so he might not have the cleanest final sector. His middle sector was dominant, 3/10 up on Carlos Sainz. First sector was another 10th up on his teammate, but he lost a lot of time in the final sector, just couldn't get the front turned in, and nearly did what Lando Norris did and got to that outside curb. Still should be good enough for Charles Leclerc, though.
Verstappen, then Leclerc, then Perez and Sainz. There is 5th place Oscar Piastri, who is ready to go again. He's ready to be launched back into this qualifying hour, where the main headline so far is that his teammate Lando Norris, for the first time this season, won't make Q3, didn't even make Q2, out as part of the bottom 5, along with Ricciardo and the 2 Saubers and Esteban Ocon.
I think the big dogs are through. I think the top 5 should be through, although McLaren taking no chances with Piastri, and they're sending him out just to make sure. The Mercedes duo have got work to do, especially Lewis Hamilton down in 9th, and they've just run their scrubbed soft tyre in the first part. I'm fascinated to see now what Ollie Behrman can do. That's a scrubbed tyre lap from Behrman, same as Hulkenberg, and he's up in 7th.
When will I have someone in front? Can we practice that all weekend, not to be completely alone in qualifying?
In recent races, it feels like Charles Leclerc, with a confident run, he's had 3 races in a row on the podium. It feels like there's a more punchy direction from him on the radio, and he's asking the team, when are we going to have someone forcing a hole in the air for me, because the toe, the slipstream here, is worth so much in that final sector.
Yeah, it is particularly that run out of the final corner. I don't think Charles made the best of the final corner at turn 16, but he clearly wanted a little bit more of a boost on the long run to the line. Ferrari got time to make it happen, and in Q3, the cars should all go out together, in which case he can judge his own gap. I don't know if he's signalling he wants more from his teammate or from the team to orchestrate that, but in Q3, often it just happens naturally as the cars all filter out of the pits together. Ferrari just went early as a precaution in that one.
So Franco Colapinto is 11th, ahead of 2-time world champion Fernando Alonso. Then it's Gasly, Tsunoda and Stroll, who need an improvement. Hulkenberg up against a new teammate. He's looking on fresh rubber to try and do what he's done 7 times before this season, book a place in the top 10 shootout.
He keeps missing the toe from Carlos Sainz. So Ferrari are trying to orchestrate it, but they're not managing it from the cockpit between Sainz and Leclerc. So that's something for them to work on, to extract a little bit more from Charles Leclerc, who has been consistently quicker than Sainz so far this weekend.
George Russell won around this circuit when he had a Formula 2 season here in 2018. That was in a sprint race. Alex Albon won the feature in that year that also featured Lando Norris. We're on board with Russell heading into the left-hander, late on the brakes through there. The driver who was fastest in FP3 earlier on. Russell looking to try and do what he's only done on 1 occasion before in Baku, and book a place in Q3.
Decent first sector for Russell in the Mercedes. He's been okay in the low speed, gets really out close to the wall at the exit of turn 6. Now he'll come onto the brakes for turn 7, and he has been strong in the low speed. This is where he was quick compared to most of the field earlier on, and then they really make the difference in the final sector, the Mercedes. He's got Charles Leclerc just ahead of him, who should get out of the way and does. Now the Mercedes can build the speed through these couple of quick left-handers, end the middle sector and get to where it's really fast.
Oliver Behrman trying to reach Q3 as well, the driver heading to the Haas team. He's had a really tricky campaign in Formula 2, but he did win last time out in F2 at Monza. Upgraded to Formula 1 after Kevin Magnussen was suspended. George Russell was high on the curb through 16. He's flat to the floor through 17, 18 and 19. He now goes through onto the main straight, and Russell will hope that this gets him into the higher echelons of the field and books his place through 4th position for George Russell. Lewis Hamilton will be the next driver to set a lap time on the board. We go on board with the 7-time world champion. Yuki Tsunoda's just gone up to 8th position. Where does Hamilton go across the line? It's good enough for 7th.
Behrman's first sector is half a second quicker than Lewis Hamilton. He has just done a tremendous first sector. He's not done a tremendous middle sector, though. It's not an easy circuit to put the whole lap together. Hulkenberg has come through and not improved, so Behrman will out-qualify Hulkenberg, but as he drives to the line, can he get into the top 10?
Big moment for Oliver Behrman. Colapinto goes up to 5th position. Extraordinary performance. That's one driver in his second ever Formula One qualifying session. What about the other one? He's got himself to 10th place.
But Alonso's going quick.
And Alonso knocks him out immediately. 5th position for Fernando Alonso. Behrman with a strong effort to out-qualify Hulkenberg. That is only been the case 3 times all year long for Haas. That's why I put him in. That's why they've put him in Formula One for 2025. Max Verstappen over the line. Here's the checkered flag. And we've got Behrman missing out by 1/10 of a second as Verstappen doesn't quite improve, 400 slower than his effort from earlier on. Behrman misses out by 1/10. He's ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, Nico Hulkenberg and Lance Stroll as we reach the end of Q2. Colapinto and Albon, both Williamses going through, but the Argentine driver loving life in Formula One as Behrman gets told he's out.
He didn't do the cleanest of middle sectors. His first sector was as good as almost anyone in that field through the first four corners. The next couple were okay, and then the time somehow went away from him in the middle sector. That's why he's frustrated, but still a cracking job from Behrman. Out-qualifying Nico Hulkenberg is not easy. Kevin Magnussen hasn't been able to do it this year all that often, and Behrman does it on his first full weekend with the team. I still think that's outstanding, but is not as outstanding as Franco Colapinto. Hold on to your hats. Albon only just made Q3. Colapinto's 6th.
Absolutely extraordinary stuff from a driver who has always been rapid. 2 years in Formula 3, 4th place when he left that championship. A race winner earlier this year in Formula 2. Here's Oliver Behrman.
Had to look up. Damn it. Mate, I'm such an idiot.
There we go, there's the frustration. Lock up, he says. Somewhere in that middle sector, the time really went away from him. He could have been in Q3, which would have knocked Albon out. It would have been 2 outstanding efforts. As it is, getting the Haas to 11th is still a good result for Behrman, and out-qualifying Hulkenberg, who didn't put his perfect lap together either, is a brilliant effort. What is... This Colapinto is...
Okay, you're through to Q3. You're through to Q3, mate.
Oh!
Congratulations.
Vamos!
What a start.
He left Formula 2, 6th place in the championship. He was with the MP Motorsport team. He has always been quick. But you need more things than just raw talent to succeed in Formula 1. To come to Formula 1 in your 2nd full weekend, when it raised eyebrows they put him in the car. He's never driven around Baku before. Everyone looked at Monza, said it was impressive, but Monza effectively has 6 corners. Baku has 20. It's catching out Grand Prix winners. Esteban Ocon's hit the wall. Grand Prix winner, he's out. Ricciardo, Grand Prix winner, he's out. Norris, the same. Bottas, the same. And yet Franco Colapinto is in Q3.
It's extraordinary. It is extraordinary what he's doing at the moment. 2nd race weekend in Formula 1 in a Williams. He's got more than 3/10 to Alex Albon, who's been the team's #1 for years now. He is dispatched of Logan Sargent. He dispatched of Nicholas Latifi. And Colapinto is at least right on that level. He was close in Monza, had a great race, matched Albon through race pace, and now starting afresh on what you say is a tricky circuit. And the evidence points that out with mistakes for Ocon, with Norris making a mistake as well.
And this is going to be the white flag waving for the slow-moving Alpine coming back. That is going to be Lando Norris over the curb, skateboarding over the curb, and out in qualifying in Q1 for the first time this year. This is on board. This is a huge story in the World Championship. Lando Norris 62 points away at the start of the day, and he exited in Q1. The British driver heading to the media pen way before he expected to. And we can now hear from Lando Norris.
Lando, so sorry to see you out in Q1. Was that just the typical Baku qualifying where yellow flags can catch you out at the wrong time?
Yeah, pretty just that really. There was, the lap was good, easily good enough, just a yellow flag, so I had to back off.
We've seen people can come with a big long straight, they can come and make up positions. Is that just the best you can hope for tomorrow, try and crack into the top 10?
Yeah, but I don't even think it's as easy as that, honestly. Following is pretty much impossible around here, and overtaking's, I think, a lot worse than what everyone thinks. So I hope I'm wrong, of course. I hope there's plenty of chances, but I'm not expecting so, and there's a lot of cars behind who are very low downforce, which will be pretty much impossible to overtake. So I'm honestly not expecting a lot from 17th, but we'll put in a good plan tonight, and we'll do our best, of course. But I don't know what's going to happen, so we're just going to wait and see.
Okay, good luck. Thank you.
Understandably downbeat. Lando Norris speaking to Greg Stewart there, out in Q1 for the first time this year.
So talking about yellow flags, there was Esteban Ocon go slowly getting out of the way, and there was a green flag after Ocon, which I can only presume there's a yellow flag before. So maybe there was something more in it for Norris. It looked like he just got out wide on the curb, was heading towards the wall as he was straddled the curb, and had to lift off the throttle, and then there was Esteban Ocon there. I'd like to see it again to see exactly where the yellow flag was. There was a white flag, but you stay flat out through a white flag for a slow-moving vehicle. That was also for Ocon. And yeah, you said Verstappen came past him at a decent time. I didn't see the yellow flag, but Lando obviously says that was the issue. And if it was purely that, then it's a tough break, and that's Baku.
That's the nature of it when you have to improve late on. A unusual track surface, the team's having to improvise and understand the grip a little bit more. 12 minutes to go in Q3, and what a glorious situation we find ourselves in, where you have no idea what the order's going to be. You have 7 drivers who can make a case for pole position. For Alex Albon and Williams, he hasn't been out-qualified by a teammate since the start of 2023. Logan Sargent was never able to do it when it came to Grand Prix qualifying. Did it a couple of times when it came to sprints, but never in Grand Prix qualifying. Can Franco Colapinto do it at the second opportunity? Colapinto, one of the stars of this qualifying hour so far. He will be the first Argentine driver to start in the top 10 in Formula One since Carlos Reutemann. And that is an unbelievable stat and a huge day. Great stuff for Franco Colapinto. Last time we had an Argentine driver in the top 10, the 1982 Brazilian Grand Prix.
So that becomes a very nice subplot of Q3, how high Colapinto can get. But there is still major stakes at play in terms of the race weekend and in terms of a potential championship fight. Obviously Norris may well have cost himself a shot with qualifying today, 17th, and understandably downbeat about that. If Verstappen can get himself up onto the front row and deliver big points, this could be the killer blow this weekend for Max on what was already looking to be almost insurmountable gap for McLaren and Norris. But Verstappen's got to deliver still. Charles Leclerc has looked very quick. They're neck and neck through Q2. What can Piastri do in the other McLaren? And you've got both Mercedes with a decently raceable car, I'd say, with a high top speed, who could do with at least getting into the top 3 and being in the mix.
Stories absolutely everywhere you look as we begin the third and final part of qualifying, featuring 2 Williams for the first time this season. It's Albon and Colapinto waiting to join the racetrack, and the main contenders at the head of the field, the Ferraris, the Mercedes, 1 McLaren, 2 Red Bulls and a 2-time world champion in Fernando Alonso are the contenders. Charles Leclerc looks for a 3rd pole position of the year so far and a 4th all-time in Baku. Max Verstappen looks to take his first pole since the Austrian Grand Prix back in July, and Sergio Perez adores this place. He's statistically the best driver around here. Can he claim his first pole position of the season and out-qualify Max Verstappen for the first time in the Grand Prix format since Miami? a long time back when it comes to the qualifying hours since Miami back in 2023.
Yeah, Perez is not to be discounted at this stage. Into Q3 and looking consistently good this weekend on a track that he always goes well at. I was wondering who the Williams were playing chicken with.
Yeah, saw that. Sorry.
Yeah, the two of them were just waiting. It's like trying to cross a busy road, trying to pull out somewhere into the moving traffic. The problem for those Williams drivers was you got high cockpit side, so you cannot see what cars are coming down the fast lane. You have to be told on the radio, and at some point you've just got to go. They obviously didn't have the communication that Checo was still coming. That'll be fine. It might be a slap on the wrist for the team.
It has been Charles Leclerc town when it's come to one lap pace around here in recent years. But this is the pressure moment. This is where you have to deliver. And remember, a banker lap, a foundation lap with your first run in Q3 on the evidence of so many previous years, and what we've seen already today could be the difference. If you get yourself to the front of the field and provisional pole, it gives yourself a great opportunity to move on with the second lap. We're on board with George Russell, taking it through the first two turns of the racetrack. Russell, fastest of all the drivers in FP3, is a two-time pole position holder so far this year. Huge speed as he goes through the first DRS zone. The next one will take him to the line. Plenty of technical corners between him and the first run on the board in Q3 though.
Maximum attack now. This one could be the deciding one. Whenever there's a street circuit, you know, your first lap of Q3 could be your pole position shot. Red flags, yellow flags, any interruptions can happen and have happened in the past. So Russell through tight corner at turn 7. Now up towards the castle section that's been opened up since this circuit came onto the calendar in 2016. It's a bit quicker now. You come up the hill, sweep it through the right, through the left, and now get on the gas, over the crest, round these two left-handers. The car bouncing slightly through the apex of the first of them. The second one's easier, and you pick your braking point for 15.
George Russell trying to return to pole position for the first time since the British Grand Prix earlier in the year in a wide open battle. But this is the part of the circuit where the Mercedes is superb. Straight line speed, ultimate power, sweeping round to the end of the lap, to the checkered flag where it will wait in 7 minutes and 30 seconds time. Piastri has the best middle sector so far. He has a really strong power unit in the back of the car. Same as Russell, same as Hamilton. Russell over the line, 141.9 to beat. Hamilton next up.
Sainz is the fastest man in the first sector. Leclerc's the fastest man in the middle sector. Piastri's going quickly as well.
Hamilton to second as we go on board with Oscar Piastri, who goes ahead of both Mercedes. Great sector time in the middle part of the lap, but Leclerc takes it away. The master of this configuration is ahead of Piastri, Russell and Hamilton. Sainz gets close, 0.2 of a second away. Ferrari's 1 and 2 at the moment. Still lap times to come from both Red Bulls.
But it's not been Verstappen's best lap so far. It's not been the cleanest as he marches up towards the line. Ferrari 1-2, 2/10 separating them. Piastri's right there as well, and Verstappen comes through. He's only 5th.
Only 5th, behind Russell, Piastri and the two Ferraris. Albon goes ahead of Alonso. What can we see from the second Williams? He goes behind his teammate. 8th on the grid is impressive for Franco Colapinto in only his second Grand Prix. Perez hasn't out-qualified Max Verstappen all year long, but he's put his teammate down to 6th place. He's the lead Red Bull on the grid as it stands. 6 minutes to go.
First shots fired for Ferrari. Leclerc to his routine Baku pole spot at the moment. Verstappen through the final corner.
Oh, well, there's time to be found, and he will be delighted that that happened on run 1 and not run 2. That curb again at turn 16. He was lucky not to have a full spin.
Holy smokes. That was on his fast lap. How has he not lost more time? How has he even completed the lap in a sensible position? Having that level of lurid slide. He lost half a second to Leclerc in the final sector. Red Bull have not been that strong in the final sector so far. He wasn't miles away in the first 2, but that's where they have been making their advantages in practice. There's plenty more in there for Max.
How far behind am I?
So to Leclerc, it's 8.5 tenths.
Come on, guys. Get those temperatures up.
Yeah, copy.
That's a G up to the team for Lewis Hamilton. That is a G up. They're clearly struggling to get the tyre temperature in the window. George Russell was talking about that a lot yesterday. Couldn't get the tyres in the working window. And if you don't do that, you can get margins that extreme. Lewis Hamilton 0.8 of a second away for a car that was looking much better earlier in the weekend. Two Williams are ahead of Fernando Alonso. Check the gap between Albon and Colapinto. Hardly anything between the two of them.
And wait for it, they were on used tyres, Alex. let's wait for the final hurrah from the two Williams and Franco Colapinto in this qualifying. Interestingly, Piastri was also on a scrub set of tyres. Interesting. In that one, and he was quick, really quick, to be in the top 3. So there's more to come from Piastri and his McLaren as well. Alonso was on used tyres at the back of the field. Everyone else ahead was on a new set of boots. Verstappen with his slide will have the pace to get right in amongst it on the second run.
And this is Sergio Perez at turn 15. What an unpredictable weekend we are having at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. This is the qualifying hour. That's luxurious gap on the evidence of the rest of the weekend.
Well, that's perfect. That is precision from Perez. You don't want to touch the ball. You can get away with it there, but having the momentum coming out of the corner, that was really neat stuff from Checo. Didn't do enough around the rest of the lap. Still 4/10 adrift.
Okay, we do a quick turnaround because we don't want to be the last car.
Yeah, confirm.
Proactive from Red Bull, and that is because they're 5th and 6th. They've got a lot to gain and not a lot to lose, and they want to make sure there's no yellow flags, no red flags, no interruptions to get their lap in. But they're too late. They are the last cars, pretty much. Perez and Verstappen wait in the garage. Colapinto takes to the track. So does Alonso.
The Williams still has the airbox fan in.
Understood.
No way. Alex Albon still has the airbox fan attached, and he has pulled to the side of the road. He's got no way to get back to the pits, and he knows he has to park up, otherwise he'd get pinged for being in an unsafe condition. Can he get the marshals to remove it?
It's going to be a red flag, isn't it? What on earth has happened there? How have they managed to do that?
That's someone's job.
How on earth have they released that car?
And someone's missed it. Williams' best qualifying day. Now, can he chuck it clear? He might get in trouble if he does. Can he throw it clear of the car? I've seen George Russell do this with a water bottle in F2 before. I've never seen it. Look at the unit of that. That's a massive piece of equipment to miss.
Can someone grab it and then we can carry on with qualifying? Russell's about to start a flying lap. Albon is parked on the exit of turn 1. Please just grab it and we can carry on. He's now chucked it clear. He's going to have to run over. Here we go.
You've got the dry ice as well on the, behind him on the left-hand side. A bizarre one operationally for Williams on their best qualifying day of the year so far.
Oh, what a mess. I mean, they've already released the cars into the path of Perez on the first one, but how do you release that car? Just have a look.
Wow. Never seen that before. Been watching Formula One a very, very long time. Okay, second runs, let's go. Race control haven't intervened. We go again.
Albon's moving, so he's got out of the way in the nick of time, so Russell can start a flying lap. The first man to have a crack at pole position.
Alex Albon has been noted for an unsafe release. That is going to be a fine for the team. Did a marshal run to go and get it? We didn't get a yellow flag. I reckon he's thrown that clear, and he's now going to try and qualify the car. Colapinto and Albon, along with Alonso, they're going to have a battle all of their own. And now the top 7 are going to battle it out for pole position. Can Lewis Hamilton fire up those tyres, get them in the working window, and become a contender here? Because his teammates up in 4th, but no improvement first sector.
It's not miles away for Russell, but it's not enough. Hamilton does find a better first sector, but it's not as quick as Russell still. 10th down on his teammate.
They do have a rocket ship of a car, though, in the 3rd sector. Can they play themselves into contention? Now with fresh tyres, Oscar Piastri's in contention. He's up on Charles Leclerc's first sector time.
Sainz improves on his best first sector. Now Leclerc takes it away by 100th, but the top three are all within 800ths of a second through the long first sector.
Leclerc is improving sector one fastest of anyone so far. So is Sainz, so is Piastri. Personal best for them. Wasn't a personal best for Russell in sector one, but it is a better overall lap time. And now they're into the Mercedes' favourite part of the circuit. Charles Leclerc is improving as it stands on his provisional pole position time. The checkered flag is waving. First driver over the line will be George Russell, and then the others will get a chance to respond. Piastri is rapid in the middle part of the lap. We have a battle for pole position as Russell cuts the beam. Where does he go? Improves his lap time, not his place. His teammate is next, over the line. Lewis Hamilton tries to get beyond the Red Bulls. Can he do it? No. He too improves his time, but not his position.
Leclerc's hooking it up. Leclerc's on a very good middle sector.
But first of all, Oscar Piastri, can he get pole? No, he misses out by 700ths of a second.
Perez has done the best first sector of anyone.
Can Sainz take it back? No, he misses out on the front row. Here comes Charles Leclerc to take it further away from the rest of the field. The master of one-lap qualifying around this circuit continues his one-lap pace. Alonso's ahead of the two Williams, and what do Red Bull have by way of response? It will be a personal best for Verstappen. It will be a personal best for Perez, but which one will be ahead? Colapinto's ahead of Albon with the Williamses. For the Red Bulls, it's Verstappen up to 5th. Sergio Perez reply. Here it comes across the line. And it's up to 4th for the first time this season. The lead Red Bull on the grid will be Sergio Perez. Max Verstappen is in 6th, George Russell 5th. Sainz puts it in 3rd. Another front row start, but no one had an answer to the low fuel attacking pace of Charles Leclerc, who has taken pole in Baku for the 4th time in a row.
He is just monstrous around these streets. Something about this track and Charles Leclerc just clicks. He crashed on his first time with Ferrari at this corner in 2019, and since then, no one has got close, and they haven't today either. 3/10 the pole margin, and the winner of the last Grand Prix is starting to put together a bit of a run.
And pole position. No chance.